Hey guys, welcome back to Life with Twinsies. I'm Jasmin.
And I'm Charles.
We're back, y'all.
We're back.
Did you guys miss us? Yeah, guys, we had to take a break last week, and we had some busy things going on in work, but we are back this week. And guys, this was a lot of information in this episode. Yes. A very, very sad, emotional episode. Just woo. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Trying to smile within the tears. Yes, I know it's a TV show, but it was this one was emotional.
It was, you guys. And before we even get started in discussing this episode, let me say this first. As everyone knows by now, Power Season 4 episodes 8, 9, and 10 were leaked. Now this came out last week, and before it even came out, I had a lot of things planned that I wanted to do that week as far as videos, predictions, and different topics that I wanted to discuss. However, after this came out, it was just like, okay, what's the point of doing a predictions video when everyone knows who was going to be killed? So this week, out of respect for people who do not want to know the spoilers that are going on out there, I decided to disable the comments. Well, we decided to disable the comments, and this was something that, you know, we had a discussion about, and we really don't want to know. We want to be surprised with the rest of you guys. I did not
show every week.
Yes. It was hard, but I tried. Charles will tell you, I tried my best to stay away from social media and avoid seeing these leaks. When it leaked, my cousin hit me up and she was like, it's all over Instagram and Facebook. You see anything power related, ignore it. So it was really hard for me to stay away. And Charles was just like, don't tell me, I don't want to know. And so
that's the way I am. Yeah. I want to watch the whole entire thing.
Right.
Don't tell me the end of the movie.
Right.
TV show,
right?
Whatever.
So just for this video, you guys, just bear with us. Comments will be disabled. However, next week after the finale, feel free.
Up and pop it.
Yes, let us have it. Let's start the discussion. Get the discussion going. Now, you guys, we're not going to do a full recap of this episode because there was just so much information. But there's a lot of things that we want to comment on. I mean, I took notes as we were watching it. It was things that stood out to me. So we just want to talk about, pretty much summarize the scene and add whatever comments or thoughts we had regarding that particular scene. So what comes to mind first?
Well, we don't want to say the ending first.
No.
But
please, guys, that was rough to watch. I mean,
I'm just glad they put it at the end and made it as short as they did.
Yeah.
Because if not, there have been tears flowing.
Can you imagine if they had really drug it out like they did with Julio's death?
Oh yeah, that would have been awful.
But I mean, not to get too ahead of ourselves, let's just hope that next week they don't drag it out and we don't get to see. I'm just really not going to be prepared for that.
No.
Yeah.
You might videotape us watching it next week. But
yeah.
We'll talk about that.
Okay, so the first thing that sticks out to me is when Ghost and Tariq, they're having a discussion in the car. Now, you guys, this was right after Tariq had the interview with the representative from the prep school that he wants to attend in Connecticut. Now, he didn't think he did well in that, and Ghost is just reassuring him that everything's going to be okay and it's looking good. But this is what Ghost said to me, and what he said to Tariq, and it really had me thinking. He told him, I know what guilt can do to a person, and it eats at you until you don't know who you are anymore. And I've been saying this whole season that Tariq is going to feel really guilty should something happen to his sister behind the mess that he was involved in.
Right. Well, I guess he's feeling guilty because the woman got shot because he's calling out people's names.
Right. Yeah, that too. And then he kind of feels guilty about the whole jukebox and Kanan situation.
Right,
but,
right.
you know, Ghost reassured him that's not your fault. So
now Ghost is want to have a heart-to-heart to his son.
Yeah.
But sometimes you had his heart-to-heart when things happen and things come up. But you got to prepare yourself. He's coming to his own right now. You got to start talking to him a little bit more. Ghost, you got to talk to him. This world ain't good for him.
Right. Well, I think in this episode too, we got to see that he didn't have a lot of animosity towards his dad like he had in previous episodes. He seems to be kind of mellowing out.
It looks like way, but I still think he's playing that role.
You think he's just playing? Yeah, role?
But I think because he still got the lean in him.
Right, that's true.
So I think he's just playing that role because you see he's still throwing those little comments out when they was having that heart-to-heart about him setting up
snitching on Kanan.
Yeah, getting Kanan locked up. So he's still feeling that. He's still searching for the truth, or he's still looking for himself. He don't know who he is right now.
Okay.
That young man coming to his own.
Right. The next thing that sticks out to me was the conversation between Tommy and Tariq. And in this conversation, Tommy, he's just looking all around him while he's in his truck, just looking around. I'm like, what does he keep looking over his shoulder for? But the thing that stuck out to me that made a lot of sense towards the end of the episode is he finds out that he has Sicilian in his blood.
Right.
And Tommy's like, no shit, you know? But that really stuck out to me, and that's when Tariq told him that he wanted Tommy to come see him.
Right.
And he said, Kate has proof. And man, oh man, Tommy.
Yeah. I don't know what to say about that. Okay. I know how I feel about having a son, but...
Yeah, but a lot of people still don't trust Tariq or thinks that he might have an alternative motive. But it just seems now...
My only thinking about Tariq is that I think he wants to make sure that his wife is taken care of. Because he can't do nothing for her while he's in prison.
Right.
So he wanted to make sure that, okay, because you know his wife gave him that somewhat of a guilt trip. Not a guilt trip, but just tell him that she couldn't have a child, and if she had a son, he would be there to take care of right now while he's locked up.
Right.
So now he's feeling that, oh, I have a son, and I want him to take care of you, but he's not going to tell her that. But I guess he's feeling that he wants his wife taken care of. I guess that's his only motive because, of course, they've been together for life.
Okay, so you think that's why he's doing the favors that he's doing for Tommy?
Yes, yes.
But does he know that Tommy don't care about his own mouth? So, okay. But I see where you're going for this. Tommy might look out for old Connie.
Right.
Okay. But, okay, so this new U.S. attorney, this Robinson lady, and is it me, or does she look a lot like Courtney Kemp? I'm wondering if there's some type of relation there.
I think she like Rice, but hey, that's just me.
I'm looking at her, and I'm just like, her mannerism, everything, it just reminded me of Courtney Kemp. But anyway, guys, getting away from that, this was an interesting conversation that she has with Angela, because she's telling them they're going to go to this Destroy Injustice gala, and she asked Angela, she's like, who would you recommend out of Mock and Sachs for to be head of criminal? And Angela's like, me.
Just like somebody. Just want to throw that name in the hat. Just says, I didn't ask you about you. I just asked you about two people. You the third name in that.
Yeah, but is it me or is Angela? She is so slick. Everything she does is so strategic. She reminds me just of Ghost.
Yeah.
Like, those two are birds of a feather. Yes. They really are. And I'm not saying that because I think that they're the perfect couple or I want to see him back together with her. But they just remind me so much of each other. I mean, just everything she does. Just like last week, how she set Sandoval up to get killed in jail. It's just like she's thinking one step ahead of everything, and she put this perfect plan in action, which ultimately led to her getting this promotion.
She's becoming the female Ghost.
Yeah, she is. She really is. Or maybe she's just been the female Ghost all along because, you know, she's the only one in her little head who seems to think that she's innocent. And when other people describe her and they're like, that's how you are, and how Proctor said that, you know, she'll bend the law as she sees fit. And she's like, what do you mean? I uphold the law. Like, maybe in your mind, that's how you are, but everybody else sees you as a sneaky snake in the grass.
Yeah.
It's just, oh my God. Now, we get to this interview that Olivia is having. She's walking James and Councilman Tate through the old neighborhood and asking them questions. And you see Tate excuse himself and he walks over and he's talking to this guy standing over by the fence. Now, you guys, I know we didn't do a video last week, but Councilman Tate is really... It's something, I mean, everybody on the show, don't get me wrong, has an alternative motive. But he is sneaky.
Everybody got skeletons.
Yes. I'm like, what is really going on here? And you can see in that scene that Ghost noticed it too. He's answering Olivia's question, but he keeps looking over at Councilman Tate and he's like, what is he doing? Who is that he's talking to? That's crazy. So, another thing that stuck out to me is in that interview, he took that moment to acknowledge Angela. Even though he didn't say her name, anyone who knows them or know about them knew that he was referring to her, that she got out of the hood and she went to Cho, and, he was left there to stay there and fend for himself. Right. But
he knew she was going to see it.
Yeah.
They still got that love for each other.
Yeah, and it was very evident.
Yeah, it's there.
Especially at the gala, and he's standing behind her, and he's just like looking down, checking her out the whole time. Like, really? Now, Silver, when he came over to their house, and he's returning the boxes and stuff, all of their belongings. But this was really interesting to me because he tells Tasha that it was something that had been bothering him, and he's just like, right after I told you that Sandoval was going to be held at the MCC, in less than 24 hours, he was murdered. Now, Tasha played it off like she usually does, and she's like, he was a dirty agent. Anybody could have killed him. And Silver's like, yeah. But the next scene, if you guys peep this, when Tasha goes over to the security box and she's punching in her code and she's talking the whole time, so she thinks that Silver's just listening to her, but he
got her back to Silver.
Yeah, she has her back to Silver, and he is paying close attention on the numbers she's punching in.
Yes.
And just the look on his face, he's like,
memorizing numbers.
Right. And you guys, if you go back and if you recall, we did a video on what I said that I thought that Silver and Stern were working together.
Right.
There's really something here with Silver, and them showing this scene wasn't by accident. There's going to be something coming back into play
then
with
Silver. Then they gave a close-up on him looking at the safe.
Right.
So there's something into that.
Yeah. So we're going to see more out of Silver going into next season, and he is not who he appears.
Nah.
Yes.
He's another snake, but he's that. You don't know what kind of snake he is right now. You don't know if he's a snake in cahoot with somebody else.
Right.
Or he's trying to get his own.
Right. And what about, I know y'all had to love how quick he was to come back when Tasha was telling him about her plan that she wants to expand the weave shots, and he's just like, I don't have the money to invest.
I ain't got nothing.
Like, before you even go there, he just like, pump your brakes, sister.
You get nothing out of me.
Yeah. So that kind of, I'm like, like, really, that's what you think she's after, is your money already? But
yeah, but he was so happy when she started explaining her idea about getting Ghost's money. Oh yeah, you'll get the alimony money, huh?
Right. Oh, look at you, you gonna be independent.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I don't need any grown dependents. Oh gosh. So Stern and Ghost, they were talking about James wants a bigger part in the company. He wants to be a businessman. Right. I mean, that's been his objective since season 1. But Stern lets him know that he's not happy about his decision when he went behind his back and joined forces with Tate. So he denies his request, and he was just like, the business end of the deal is closed, so that's not going to happen. But Ghost being Ghost is already thinking about his next move, guys. Right. Yeah, so this is when Tommy confronts Kate about the birth certificate. He's in there tearing up the house looking for this birth certificate, and his mom just like, oh, it's over there, in the drawer. Right. And he's like, what? This is not it. Now, this scene, Charles and I kind of disagreed on. I'm like, really, Tommy? You would kill your mother? Like, really?
I just think he wants to scare her and to think that he will hurt her. But I couldn't think. I can't see Tommy hurting his mom.
But you saw her face though. She looked at him and she looked at that ring around his neck.
No, she looked at him because of the way what he mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he mentioned Holly, and then she looked at that ring around his neck, and she was just like, over there in the envelope right there. So that was crazy. But I mean, when Tommy was getting ready to leave out, that's when he grabbed that Coke. Now, do you think he grabbed that Coke because of all the emotions and the feelings he was having about...
I think he grabbed it because when he told his mother don't contact him anymore, she ain't getting no Coke from him no more either. And he took the last bit of it.
Right. But dag. And in that scene, remember, he learned that Teresi had given him his name. And he was there at his birth, gave him his name. And his mother later changed it. Now, that's got to be some... That gotta mess you up mentally. Yeah. A grown man, you didn't have a father growing up, you didn't have a family, and you find out the real reason why. So that was crazy to me.
Happens every day.
Yeah.
Happens every day.
Yeah. So Ray shows up and he kills Brains and the other guy.
Right.
And that whole scene was just...
Man, keep your piece on you. Not in front of you to death.
The whole, how that whole scene played out, I'm just like, really? I mean, when they first walked in there, and when he first walked through the door, they should have been ready anyway, like what? They should have known that Ray was going to come back sooner or later. Because even when they walked up on Tariq and he was playing basketball, and they asked him, had you talked to Ray? And he's like, no. They seemed like they were kind of concerned about that at first, and then he just kind of brushed it off. But he should have been ready and waiting for that, and he just let his guard down and kind of relaxed, especially after Ray stood up. I'm like,
let a man walk behind you.
Yeah, but think about what Ray said. He said his dad is an MF, and he was like, and Slim is his friend. He's probably out looking for y'all now.
Right.
So my whole thing is, Ray must be coming after Slim, aka Kanan, too.
Yeah.
Because him and Jukebox were crooked cops together.
Right.
So, obviously, that's where his loyalty lied. And, he's going to be out looking for Kanan, too. Which is, I feel like the last couple of episodes, ever since Kanan killed Jukebox, my feelings towards him have changed. Because this whole season, I was just like... He must die. I'm so sick of his character. He's not bringing much to the series for me. It's just, I was just done with him. I had enough of him. But now I can see where he could potentially take on a much bigger role. And one of our subscribers had mentioned this to me a few weeks ago, and they said, remember, this is when Courtney Kip said that this season is going to bring everything full circle and it's going to go back to the beginning. So, could it be that we're seeing, at the end of this episode 10, we will see the beginning of Ghost and Kanan possibly working together?
Could be.
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out. I really want to see that part. But Dre and Crystal, they set fire to the stash house.
When is Dre going to get caught?
I don't know, Charles, but I mean, we might not see it at all. I mean, I'm not sure if it was part of the leaked episodes, so I don't know if Dre gets killed off in the finale, but Dre's pretty smooth.
Dre's not smooth. Dre just got everybody fooled.
He's a he's a thinker. Like he said, they underestimate him.
Right.
And he's dangerous. He's played, he's played Tommy so good, and you're just like, I think for a minute when he had the conversation and he had turned all the Ramirez against Tommy, and he walked over and he was having that conversation with Tommy, and Tommy asked him to keep them in line. When he was putting it all together in his head, Tommy was like, I know it's the Jimenez, but I just can't figure out how they did it. And Tommy's like deep in thought. Dre was like, ooh, like he's starting to connect the dots in his head. Let me try to distract him. So he's like, so what are you going to do? So I don't know, guys. If Drake, I want nothing more but to see Drake go down.
Drake's using them thinking that okay, he's young and he's a little punk. He's using that against them.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that's keeping him alive because they're not thinking that Dre's this smart.
Right.
They ain't keeping tabs on him.
That's what I mean. I said he's smooth.
Yeah, but he got to go down. Dre got to go down.
Pretend to be weak when you're really strong.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what he's doing. Now, Angela invites Proctor out to lunch to discuss possibly joining the defense side.
Yes.
Now, this is what I was referring to when I said she's thinking a step ahead. She knew that every information is shared between the prosecution and the defense. And he had already knew that she didn't get that promotion.
Right.
And he's just like, oh, the only reason why you're even interested is because you didn't get that promotion that you thought. But hey, we would make a good team if you join forces over here. You know, he's thinking they're going to win every case because
right.
you're the perfect example of some of the corruption within the prosecution. So I think she just entertained him for the simple fact that she wanted the word to get back
yes.
to the other side that she's thinking about jumping ship. And ultimately, you know, Robinson would have to say, give her what she wants.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted to be head of criminal, give her head of criminal. So,
well, they're going to lose every case. Because you get both of them on there. Don't do crooked mothers.
and Proctor sees right through her. Like, he called her out. And she's
right.
just like, what do you mean? I uphold the law. And he's just looking at her like...
Sure.
Yeah, exactly. Let you keep thinking that in your head.
I know who you were sleeping with.
When the whole thing with the stash house going up in smoke and everything, I thought that when they were all rising up and they were unhappy with Tommy and Christo spoke up and he was just like, maybe I should walk. I thought that Tommy should have made an example out of him and boop. That's what I really thought he was going to do. And Dre had the look on his face like he was worried for a second. Yes. But, you know, Tommy just ultimately tells him to walk. But...
I thought he was going to go down right then and there.
I did too, Charles. That part was
right there,
really
babe.
surprising.
Right there, I thought Tommy was getting a little soft.
Yeah.
The old Tommy...
Well...
Would have took him out real quick.
Yeah, but he wasn't really even thinking clearly because he was still high off of that coke this
right.
whole episode.
And still thinking about his stash house going up in flames and what are you going to do with all these disgruntled workers.
Yeah. And then what I'm thinking about next is this is when Ghost is having another meeting with Councilman Tate. And he mentions to him in the contract that Stern, even though he's 51% owner of this, that
right.
Stern is getting most of the compensation and he's not getting compensated for this. And Tate just, you know, I can fix that. I got an idea for that.
Yeah.
Now, this is when Ghost was acting just like Angela did in this episode where he's trying to think ahead and like, let me set this up. Let me just plant this seed right here and get Councilman Tate to do me one so I can get compensated for this.
Thinking ahead of that. So you got to think ahead of thinking that.
Yeah, but I mean, this is not the first time that he has raised his eyebrow about Councilman Tate. So I would have thought at least the Ghost of the Old would have done some research on him. Because I'm like, the first time you guys meet in the neighborhood, he invites Dre and doesn't tell you. Why aren't you thinking, how does he know Dre? Yeah. First of all, because I'm like, you know too many drug dealers. You know, I understand you frequent the neighborhood and that's where you're from and everything. But I think Councilman Tate really knows who he is. He knows that he's Ghost.
I don't think he knows who he's Ghost, but I think he knows what's going on. I think he knows business.
He definitely knows that he's Ghost. Look who he's hanging around though. Come on. Dre, Sneaky Dre, and then the other guy on the street.
Of course, he's hanging around Dre, but Dre's story is that he pulled him out of the streets and got him a job running in his place.
I would be first of all, as Ghost, he should have been like, how do you know him? You know, he's just saying, what are you doing here? Why didn't you give me a heads up? I want to know how you know him.
Right.
And I don't know. It's just, there's going to be a lot more coming out about Councilman Tate, and he could be a very powerful man.
He could be a victim.
Cut it out.
He could be another statistic.
You mean how Angela said to Sandoval, "You're not a murderer. You're a witness." Yeah. Okay, now this is the whole thing. Officer Raymond Jones, aka Ray Ray, he shows up at the school. The principal interrupts class, and he's like, "Raina, Officer Raymond is looking for Tariq. Do you know where he is?" And the first thing I said to Charles, I'm like, "Charles, where do they do that at? When the principal just interrupts a class and just going to ask you in front of the class?" I said, "Don't they usually pull people aside for that?" Charles is like, "They only got 10 episodes. There's no time for that." Which is true. Like everybody said, guys, this season is being so rushed. It is just like breezing through, and it just feels like it's moving at such fast of a speed that it doesn't even make so much sense, because it just feels like you're like, well, what? Well, when did this happen? And
yeah,
man, I'm just hoping that Stars can negotiate more episodes, that they can get more episodes from Stars, because this is just trying to cram all this into 10 episodes is not working. Or at least give us like a 90-minute finale or something.
Yeah,
that would be good. But what do you think about this talk that Tasha and Keisha had?
Tasha's gonna try to she gonna spill the beans. She gonna tell she's sleep with this guy, tell her story. You know how girls do. They do the girl talk.
Yeah, but there's not gonna be much. There's not gonna be any room for it in this.
No, one
more episode left.
No, there's not gonna be room for it because it's gonna hit the fan next week.
Yeah, it is.
And then everybody's gonna have to get together, strap up.
Yes, but Tasha did let Keisha know that she knows about her and Tommy, and then Keisha did confess, and she told her that, you know, she was stupid. But I was so proud of Keisha in this episode, and I know that all the ladies can probably relate to this, or at least understand this. Maybe men not as much so, because I was like to Charles, like, "Charles, do you realize how much of an epic moment this is?" When when Keisha's walking down the street and Tommy pulls up beside her, and he's like, "Get in the car, I want to talk to you, Keisha," and he's just spilling his guts, like, "I had to go to Chicago, I found out my dad was alive, I need you, girl," and he's just trying to move in for the kiss and something. And
that's what Tommy messed up.
Yeah,
he moved in too fast.
Yeah,
you had her hooked, you were reeling her in, and then you tried to kiss her.
Yeah, but I was so proud of Keisha. She got out of that car and she was just like, "This ain't me." And she just let him know, "I'm not going to be played a fool." You know, she just was fed up. And when a woman's done, we're done. I mean, when you had enough and you get to that point, and I think most women go through that, where you get tired of playing the fool for somebody, or taking the same old crap, doing it over and over with the same result, and you just like, "I'm done with that." You done. And Keisha, kudos to her. She let him know, I'm done. And that was the end of that. Yes, thank you. Thank you. But I kind of felt bad for Tommy that it seemed like wherever he was going, he was getting a door slammed in his face, because he went to Tasha for help. You know, Tasha's always his girl. And you know, he went to her and asked her to clean some money through the weave shops, and he was just like, "No, Tommy." She was like, "You know, you will figure this out on your own." And he's just like, "Okay, I'm on my own and by myself." And then after this, you know, Keisha shut him down. He by himself again.
All the boys walked away from him.
Yeah, him and Ghost got into it, and he's just like, "I'm on my own." And who could he rely on? Dear old dad.
Yeah.
And, you know, like he said, Drake, all the Ramirez, however you pronounce that, they all walked out on him, and then he had to end up firing Dre, and he left standing there in the warehouse by his lonesome.
Yeah.
But, the Sicilian family, let's see if they're going to come through for old Tommy.
Yeah.
He needs some, though.
If the Pops give the word, then yeah.
Yeah, because the guys he was working with, I'm just like, you know, how you gonna be working for people that just they didn't seem like they had much respect for Tommy anymore.
That's because Drake was filming stuff in their head.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the guy with the bifocal's name, because this guy right here been down with Ghost and with Tommy since season 1.
Yeah, I can't think of his name.
And I can't see why he's not sticking with him. The father was taking over, but everybody else keep talking in the father's head.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's just kind of like the peer pressure. Everybody else was like, I'm walking, I'm out. They just like, I'm all out too. Because I think none of them really, the Jimenez thing is where they lost Tommy. Because none of them really wanted to go to war. You know? And then if everybody's around you like, yeah, we don't need them. You know, we can get a new connect.
But I think if Ghost would have told them they was going to war, they'd have strapped up and went to war.
Right. Because Ghost is the analytical thinker. He's the one that's level-headed and stuff. And they know that Tommy is just the one that they were afraid of because he just flies off the handle. But he's not really a thinker like Ghost is.
Right.
So they would have respected more coming from Ghost. Just like with dealing with the Jimenez family. It's just like when Tommy talked to him, they were just kind of like, I don't really consider that. But when Ghost talked to him, he just he said the same exact thing basically, but it's just the delivery.
Right. And
Tommy's just not good with that because he's just too hot-headed and he just reacts off of emotion, and they're just like, man, he's scaring us. We don't know, you know, what he gonna get us into. But at this committee meeting that they had to vote on the whole real estate deal.
Right.
Now, this is when Tate comes through for Ghost, and he brings up the part in the contract that shows that Ghost is basically not going to be compensated for this, and he's like, that needs to be corrected because the only reason why we agreed to entertain this is basically because we thought it was a minority business loan, and you know, he needs to be, you know, included in the conversation. So once you guys get that figured out, and then you can come back to the table and we'll vote on it then. Right. And then if you can see the original councilman, the white man that Stern wanted him to deal with, he was very uncomfortable. He was just like, man, if they had picked me, this would have never been an issue. Right. So Tate did point that out, and you know, he addressed that, and Ghost was just like, when he got up, he just pat Stern on the shoulder like, yeah, go ahead and get my money from me. That was a good one, y'all. But what about the thing when Raina, she went to talk to Tariq about the whole thing with Officer Raymond. Right. And this scene was huge because I kind of felt like I saw the whole sibling bond thing between them, and he told her that that's Ray, he's a dirty cop. But he also told her, you know, she said, I think we should tell Mom. And he's like, no, you can't say anything to them. It's just going to make the situation worse. And he was like, don't say anything. And she's like, I swear. And, you know, they dabbed it up. But I'm just like, like, I mean, I know in that situation and having siblings of my own that there is a bond that siblings have, and a lot of stuff that you don't tell your parents, you know, because you tell your sibling, don't tell mommy, don't tell daddy, you know, that's just between us. But dag, now looking back now, and I'm like, oh, why didn't they tell somebody?
She should have been a snitch.
Man, this is my thing though. I would snitch on my brothers if I thought it was something that was going to keep them from it. Like, I know my brother, he was going to fight this guy that was a bully, and you know, and I knew about it in advance. I'm just like, oh man, this guy I was just like, I gotta tell mommy this. I know he don't want me to tell anything, but, and afterwards I did end up saving his life because this guy had a gun. So it's just sometimes you just kind of think it through and use your judgment, but I guess with them both being young, they didn't really think. Right. Well, at least Tariq should have knew that he was the kind of person anyway. Like, Tariq knew he was coming after him. And even at the school scene, when Tariq came out there and he's calling Destiny and she's not responding, and he sees Ray walk up, like, he had enough sense to, you know, he saw it out and he took it and he started running. Right. Like, he knew his life was at risk. Mm-hmm. So, poor Raina. But before I even get to that scene, Tommy did try to reach out to Jason and see if they would help with the whole Jimenez situation, and Jason don't want no parts of that. He's like, they're not willing to go to war with the Jimenez. And furthermore, what did he say? He said something like, oh, he said, I should have put Tommy in the grave with Qatar. Right. So Tommy, y'all, he's losing respect on all ends. So I'm really hoping the Sicilians can step up and help him. because
he needs ghosts.
Yeah, because Jason people, they're gonna be after him next if he can't pull the situation off, and Jason might have already ordered the hit on him. You don't know. So, but y'all, let's get to this final end scene.
Whoo, let's breathe.
Man, this was really hard to watch, and I had knew about this, not for it to be fact, but I know when we did a lot of predictions videos that a few people, I think it was maybe Rainy J, shout out to Rainy J, I think it was her and someone else who had mentioned that it would probably be Raina who was killed in this season. And sure enough, and the way it was done, y'all, it was just so sad. She ran out there trying to protect her brother and, you know, confront this grown man who she knew to be a dirty cop, not thinking that she was putting her own life in jeopardy. But I don't know, it kind of just hit home for me because that was the kind of sister I was with my brother. Like, if somebody was after my brother, messing with my brother, I would always be like, you know, step to them, like, leave my brother alone type thing. But that was hard. That was so hard to watch.
That was hard.
Yeah, and I just can't imagine how Ghost and Tasha will respond to this. Now, your initial reaction, you thought that Ghost is just going to go.
Body's going to drop.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say. Body's going to drop.
Yeah, because I think that when you lose someone close, like somebody dies close to you, now you might have business plans or the perfect model for what you want to do next and stuff, but that puts everything in perspective.
Yes.
And Raina and Ghost had a very special relationship. That was like daddy's little girl. Right. And they and maybe that's why they showed that so much this season, like her with her dad and how she felt, her being emotional, and you know, all the embraces that they shared. And even in this episode, you know, she's laying on her dad watching the news, being so proud of him. That's daddy's little girl. And I think that this is really going to do something to Ghost. And all this stuff, big dreams and ideas that he has, is real estate, everything is going to be put on the back burner because Ghost is going.
He's going to go loco.
Yes, he's going to go crazy. And coming back to the whole guilt thing, when he had the conversation at the beginning of this episode in the car with Tariq. Tariq is going to be feeling so much guilt about this. I mean, and I think as far as fault, everybody's at fault for what took place here. I mean, Tariq, you know, all the lies that he's told, all the secrets that he has kept, he's going to have to feel guilty as ever, especially since his sister came out defending him.
And he saw it.
And he saw everything go down. So, and you said, like, Ghost and Tasha, they're at fault too.
Yeah. So they're at fault because even though they try to keep their kids away from the drug life, they are still in the drug life.
Yes.
So anything that you do in the drug life is going to fall back on your kids.
Right.
So they're at fault also.
Yeah. And, you know, Tasha is at home right now, sleeping with Silver in their home.
Yeah.
While her child is out being murdered.
Yeah.
It's y'all, I'm telling you, this thing messed me up. I wasn't even prepared for how I was going to address this, but
I'm still trying to hold back. Of course I know it's a TV show, but I'm trying to hold back the tears because, okay, me, a father of 4 girls, it's like hard saying, oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you said you like Ghost about to kill everybody.
He gonna kill everybody. Everybody got to go.
Yeah, yeah. And Kanan, what about the attempt on Kanan? We didn't mention that, but that also was on my mind because Kanan, man, he got his head on a swivel. As soon as he came in there and he saw that guy coming down the steps, he was like, okay, I got you.
I got one. I got to kick my door in because somebody's inside.
And I said to you, why did Christo and Dre only send 2 people? I mean, you know the kind of person Kanan is.
Right.
2 people.
They thought they were going to bring a knife. I want to bring a knife and kill this man.
No. Well,
the man got set on fire. He's still alive. You want to bring a knife? He got knocked out and set on fire.
Yeah, but then the one guy he didn't kill, so he can question him. Right. I think Kanan already knows who's behind it. Because, first of all, Dre wasn't responding to any of his texts. He didn't respond to none of his
text messages. He still hadn't popped up.
Yeah. So, I think...
How you going to talk your way out of this with Dre?
Kanan is going to be looking for him. And, you know, maybe after this, we'll have to see if Tariq finally talks and tells the truth, because right now he's been holding back so much. But at this point,
somebody got to tell something, because this girl didn't die for just nothing.
Exactly.
And you were there. You got to say something.
I just don't know what even Tariq is going to say, because it's just like, you guys are out there, you know, your sister is shot in the chest. What he's going to say? I didn't see who did it. You know what I mean? I'm like, he's been covering all these lies so far. If he says it was the cop, well, how do you know this cop, and how do you know he's a dirty cop?
Right.
He's just going to implement himself.
Well, not if you tell his father and mother, he ain't going to
implicate himself. Right. But guys, I don't know who his very next phone call is going to be to. Hopefully we can discuss this and avoid all the spoilers this week and bring you guys a predictions video. But you guys, this is going to be a hard week to get through in preparation for this huge finale next Sunday. It's going to be, I just can't even imagine. I can't wait to discuss this with you guys. And like I said, Sunday for the finale, comments will be enabled, so feel free, let us know what you're feeling, what you guys are thinking, what you thought of the whole season. I know a lot of people felt like it was rushed.
I enjoyed the season.
Yeah, it's been good for me so far. I think the last 2 episodes have just been kind of a little bit slow for me, because they're just building for the finale.
Right.
But I think that they're just going to they're going to throw everything they got at us on Sunday.
Yeah, but then they're going to leave something for next season.
Oh.
They got to boil over the next season.
Oh, yeah, they're going to have us waiting again for a whole year.
Whole year, waiting around, trying to figure out what's going to happen when they come back.
Right.
But we'll still be here.
Yeah, we will, guys. So, you guys, until the next time, this is Life with Twinsies, and we're out.